Going on, guys? J Chip here, finally back after almost a week off. Some things came up, so I couldn't be able to record the videos. Thank you guys for understanding, but I wanted to get back on the train as soon as possible, so none better than a great start to the week here to get in a slip for you guys. Just before we get into the great part of the video, first we'll do a little recap, and then I got a little announcement regarding the Parlayers site. So first, let's do this recap here on the Taco Tuesday. This was the last slip that I sent out last week, obviously on the Tuesday. So we had this Palo Taco that must have been spoiled, did not hit, way off from his 21.5 mark here. I was loving this slot here because I think Franz Wagner was out, and just by the eye test, looked like Banchero was going to get a lot of offensive opportunities in this game. Maybe he did, he just didn't convert on them. Who knows? Just missed the tackle by, what is this, 7.5 points, so way off. And because it's a power play, that red would have just sent us packing anyway. But just to recap the picks that I gave out from the tool, so we had Antonio Chol. I know that Prizepicks was offering this also at 9 points, 9.0 points. So we had that 0.5 discrepancy by taking it at 9.5 and taking his under. I believe a couple major books as well had him at 8.5 points, but I still like the under. He ended up going over by just a bucket at 11, so super tight line there. Didn't end up cashing for us. And then if you followed the Dean Wade pick, this cashed super easy. I believe he had juice pressing down for him to finish with 4 or less rebounds, and that's exactly what happened here. He finished with 1, so that pick ended up greening out, but all for none because this taco play didn't end up cashing. So honestly, kind of a rough record with the taco plays on this channel. For some reason, I usually take the first taco of the day. Most of the time it is NBA, but they just have not been going well for Prizepicks and obviously for us trying to take those picks. So now that the recap's done, I do want to get into a big announcement for the site. We just dropped the match odds optimizer. So what this tool does is basically just spit out the top value you could get for mainline markets such as money line, point spread, and total points in honestly a bunch of sports. We have even more sports than we do on the traditional fantasy optimizer. So you see here, we got a bunch. We got NFL, NBA, NHL. We got all the classic American sports, but we also got a bunch of soccer leagues, tennis, cricket. We even got some UFC boxing in there, but it just very, very important tool if you guys are more into betting on teams and results of teams instead of just player props individually. This is a tool you must have, especially if you're betting on a lot of sports books, which you should already be doing. This tool basically just spits out the best value that you could get for a certain type of play and make sure you're getting the most return for your money by betting on a certain result. So here, I'll just do a quick example. I'm going to dive more into this tool a bit in its own video, but I'm just so hyped about the announcement. I want to break down a bit here. So you see here, this Pittsburgh Steelers at Houston Texans game. It is tonight, so you guys are getting a little sneak peek here of the Ruby tier in action. We're just going to focus on the main one, money line here, because I know everyone knows what that is. Basically, just you're betting on which team to win the game outright, no matter if they win in regular time, overtime, whatever the case may be. That's basically what money line means. So you see here, Pittsburgh Steelers, Houston Texans, you got 2 columns, or I should say 2 rows of odds for each team. You see here, Parlayers categorizes by the best odds and the average odds. So if I go here to average odds for the Steelers money line, meaning the Steelers to win this game outright, it's plus 132 average odds across a bunch of books, as you see here. But then we see here, why get it at plus 132 average when you could be getting 4 more cents on the dollar at plus 136? And then we're going to highlight it. Parlayers is going to highlight this plus 136 in green here and bold it out for you so that FanDuel will be the best place to bet moneyline because you're getting plus 136. So if you bet $100 on the Steelers to win this game, you get back $136 in profit. That's how this works, and out of all these books, this is the best return you could get on the Steelers money line, so you'd be targeting this one. Same idea for the Texans. They are favorites though, so we're gonna flip to the minus side, and you see here the average odds are minus 157, and because it's minus and you want the most return for your money on a favorite, we want to bet the least negative data point. So if average odds are minus 157, instead of paying 57 cents on the dollar back in our pocket, so you go across here, instead of betting a minus 160 on BetMGM, you just bet a minus 150 here on Bovada, and that's why this pick is greened out, because minus 150 is the best, or I should say most bang for your buck, most return you'll get for a Houston Texans money line. So that's basically the idea of this tool. It's a match odds optimizer. Again, we're not dealing with player props here. That's what we do usually in these videos when we're dealing with the player prop optimizer and the sharp money tool. But this is just regarding match odds and results. So this is huge. Again, if you're more into, this is a big part of betting, obviously, and we wanted to give you guys more than just the player props. And this is going to come in its own separate tier, Ruby tier. So you see here on the pricing page, we got all the fantasy options here. We got the player prop optimizer on silver, gold, combining the sharp money tool and the optimizer. And then we got the match odds here, Ruby, just dropped. 24/7 access to the match odds optimizer. Like I said, there's more than 1,000 profitable odds picks per day, so that's huge. We got the 3 main markets here, and then of course a bunch of sports books that are giving us data, so we know where the best place to bet these lines are. Now that that's out of the way, just super excited that that's out for you guys. So if you guys are interested, obviously all the links to this will be in the description. And without further ado, best parts of the video, we're gonna get in a nice slip here. Let me just refresh my tools back to the traditional tools that we have for fantasy, because we will be playing on Prizepicks today. We got the player prop optimizer that compares the best Prizepicks lines back to other apps like Prizepicks. We got Underdog Fantasy, DraftKings Pick 6, Better Picks. So these are competitors to Prizepicks, and we see where we could sniff out the best value exclusive to Prizepicks. We also got the sports books here on to your right, just to see if we're getting discrepancies and where our picks are favored on the market. So that's going to be the optimizer. And then the sharp money tool, our second point of confidence, is going to be referring these Prizepicks lines back to peer-to-peer exchanges like Novig and Prizepicks, so we could see where market makers like the sharp bettors are pricing these lines at. So you see here we got a bunch of plus lines in this column. These are basically the lines that market makers, the sharp bettors, are offering for regular users, because I said it's peer-to-peer. You're betting against these other bettors, other people, but they're not just regular people. These are the guys that are equipped with very sophisticated models to end up getting clear projections and the most accurate projections on these player props. So if they're offering this at a plus 134 and is over, we know that the favored direction that the sharp bettors most likely want to be betting on is going to be the under at a favored direction. And that's also what we have here in the parlayers consensus column as a minus 130. And you could go across the books here too to see that that checks out with the market. So I like doing the sharp money tool first. I kind of see what's available on the board. Not too many greens today, but that's besides the point. I like going with this first, and then I cross-reference with the player prop optimizer to see if it's offered anywhere else, to see if we're getting plays exclusive to Prizepicks, and to compare it back to the sports books and the market. So we could finally just get into the tool here. I had a play that I liked before. My play of the day that I posted on Twitter also got bumped. Shocker. That's going to be this points assist under 15.5 on Sexton. You see here, I got him at under 16.5. So if you guys are in the Discord, it's free to join, and the Twitter account, I posted this under 16.5 as the free play. You see here, all the books, even at that time I posted, maybe a couple hours ago, they had him at 15.5 here across all the books. So we were getting a nice price at 16.5 to go on his under. And the sharps were saying that his over was a heavy underdog at plus 130. So if I go check here, he's probably going to be bumped down to 15.5. Unfortunately, that is the case. But if I go on the optimizer, let me just see if we could get some good value here. And it looks like we do. We get a Colin Sexton points and rebounds play under 14.5 is still going to be decent value for us, and I'll explain why. First of all, he's not offered on Underdog Fantasy or DraftKings Pick 6, so we can assume he's either been removed from those platforms or maybe he's discounted on his under, which is good because we're getting full value on Prizepicks on his under. And then if I go across the books here, I see 3 major books that have his line already bumped down by 1 points rebounds, right? We got ESPN Bet, DraftKings, and Flip all pricing him at 13.5. So the only book that's pricing him kind of 50-50 at 14.5 is FanDuel, but we do have a majority of the books that think he should be priced at 13.5. So I do like this play for Colin here. This is another play I'm liking actually. This Jared Vanderbilt play PRA line under 11.5. I was just playing around with the tool. You could also, instead of sorting by percentage odds, so that just puts the top purple plays all the way down to the yellows, you can just sort by price so we could see where the heaviest plus line is. So then we know that the opposite direction is going to be even more favored. And I was doing that and I came across a nice play here. His Bailey, I believe, got bumped down from 13.5. Unfortunate, but I saw another play for plus, hold on, I'm going to go down. Yeah, the Sexton play still popping up at under 15.5. So that 16.5 was a good spot to get him at. I'm liking this Jared Vanderbilt play, believe it or not. So as you see here in the right column, we 11.5 on the Prizepicks line, back to the no big line. So that's big because some of the other plays, they're not really matching up. Like you see here, Claxton 12.5 to 11.5. So we're not really getting an accurate read on his opposite direction. But this Vanderbilt play looks like the sharp bettors are on this 11.5 line and they want to be on his under, right? Because the over is a heavy plus line at plus 125. And you go across the market here, BetMGM has him as a favorite to go over, but the rest of the market has him at, let's say, the minus 121 consensus odds to go under. And if I go on the optimizer, he's offered on Underdog at this price or at this line, but not on DraftKings Pick 6 or Better Picks. But I still like it just because of this heavy plus 125 to his over. I believe the Lakers are fully loaded against the Sacramento Kings today. Hopefully the Kings at home could keep it somewhat of a tight game so that Vanderbilt doesn't see too many minutes off the bench. But I do like this 11.5 PRA. I'll check the alternate lines, nothing crazy. We're going to go with that under. So Prizepicks again. Let's see the Xavier Hutchinson play. if he's still up at 12.5. This is kind of looking like a sneakily good play. I do like the Xavier play. It's not offered on the exchanges, ProfitX or Novig, so I can't really get the read on his under 12.5. But if I'm just going based on the optimizer here, guys, this is not a bad play at all. I mean, you check Underdog Fantasy, Pick 6, Better Picks. This is why I love the optimizer for this reason. I'm comparing it to competitors to Prizepicks, and you see here that we're getting the lowest projection for Hutchinson on Prizepicks for full value. So when that's the case, I call these the floor projection because it's the lowest. So you want to bet over the floor, and because his floor is 12.5 and the rest of the market is saying that he should be priced at 13.5 or higher, I want to bet over 12.5 for full value. And this is where that tool comes in. And I just saw him at 12.5 and he just got bumped. You got to be kidding me. So he's gone now. That would have wrapped up our slip in this Hutchinson play. I want him at 12.5 over. Do not play it if he gets bumped. I repeat, do not play this Hutchinson play if he's not at 12.5. We want the over because that's the floor projection. We want to bet his over for full value on Prizepicks. So quick recap: Colin Sexton 14.5 points, rebounds under. Vanderbilt 11.5 PRA under. Hutchinson 12.5 receiving yards over. I'm gonna get this in locked in for $5. I'm limited to this on this account, so I have no choice. You guys can put more down on the slip. Just don't empty out your whole bankroll. With that being said, I appreciate all the support. Myself, my team from Parlayers appreciates all the support we've been getting on the socials and everywhere. We really appreciate it. I'm gonna wrap up this video and I will see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.